is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
By the way, Jared, he's saying, what app should I use? I'm a crypto.com app guy. I have a link on my Twitter page. You can use it. You can get $25 free. I suggest you get their Visa card. There's no charges, no service, no nothing. Plus, there's several benefits. Start off with the Ruby Red, and you'll get $25 for free. So there you go, crypto.com. So, Alan, you into crypto yet? Have we gotten you into crypto yet?
Can't say I have.
Telling you, man, you're falling behind, bro. You're falling behind.
You're not the first one who told me that.
Not 1-7 behind, but you're falling behind. Had to get that in there. Had to get in there. All right. So, first of all, I guess a huge relief for the Dolphin Nation that they weren't involved in trying to force these non-disclosures, because that would have been a terrible look, right? I mean, the part to me was the only good thing that came out of this damn press conference.
Yeah, and if you know Chris Greer, he's about the most laid-back, mellow guy ever. Completely nice guy, but the thing that stands out the most about him is incredibly mellow, and I have never seen him get upset. And today he was visibly upset when he was asked that question, and then denied that the Dolphins basically would ever think of doing something like that.
Yeah, so
at least that would have been bad. I mean,
I would have demanded that Ross get the hell out. Ross needs to leave then. If that was the case, Ross needs to leave, because that would have been that's disgraceful, dude, that you would have gone trying to get into. That's like telling the women, you're not important here. Take the money, sweetheart. We need our football team on track. You know, that would have been a terrible look. So that part I'm glad, because they've had enough of those kind of, bullygate embarrassments. All that. You definitely don't need this one. So now walk me through this. So I'm an idiot.
You said it, not me.
And that's fine. And my wife says it all the time too. So it's all right. I'm used to it. It's all right. I've been beaten down. I'm a talk show host. You know how many names I get called? So it's not a big deal. Okay. So I'm the idiot that I'm not very smart. Okay. I don't have a high IQ or anything like that, but I knew that you're not going to resolve any of these cases like Drew Rosenhaus thought 2 weeks prior to the season starting. And then, whether it's Drew Rosenhaus or Pro Football Talk, thinking that you're going to resolve it before the trading deadline. And so that's the realistic part of it. And if you really look at it, then you had an opportunity to put the kibosh on all of this, and you let it fester. And so I'm just wondering about that contradiction of all of that going on. And then here's the other thing that you just talked about, a gentleman in Chris Greer. And I kind of feel that Chris Greer is a lot smarter than that he really wouldn't want to be involved in this kind of a mess. Knowing what Chris Greer is and how he carries himself, I don't think he would want to be in this mess. And I still have a feeling that, and you said this, that it's owner-driven more than anything. Not that you said it was owner-driven, but you said clearly a couple months ago that you heard that the owner wanted Watson. And that's stuck in my mind. And I'm thinking about Harbaugh, and I'm thinking about celebrating the Gators, and I'm thinking about an orange carpet, and I'm thinking about all the bullygate and everything else that's gone on this team under Ross's watch. And I just have that feeling that this is all Ross again. So you tell me.
It's not impossible. Here's the one part of the equation that's been left out, both from the reports yesterday and from Chris Greer. And we, of course, from Chris Greer, I wouldn't expect him to tell us exactly why the Dolphins decided to stop pursuing the trade. But is it as simple? And again, this is me spitballing. I like playing devil's advocate and asking questions that need to be asked. Is it as simple as the Dolphins pulled away from making a trade because the legal issues could not be settled? Or is it because the Dolphins did not want to pay the price that the Texans kept asking with the legal situation unresolved? So
Right.
that's two different topics. I mean, two different situations there. And I'm not sure we'll ever get clarity on that. We're certainly not going to get it from the Dolphins. At this point, I'm not sure there's any point in anybody leaking it. So I don't know if we'll ever know, but that's two
No.
separate issues. As far as it being owner driven, that's entirely possible. Like I said, yeah, I heard that. Yes, that Stephen Ross absolutely loved Deshaun Watson and the idea of having that kind of a quarterback. And there's nothing wrong with that because Deshaun Watson, as we talked about before, is clearly a top 5 quarterback. And if you have one of those at his age, you're set to logically be in a position to contend year in and year out for a long time.
You'll be massaging the playoffs every year. I got you.
Correct. And obviously there's a lot of baggage, and that's the situation. And because of the fact that the Dolphins did do their due diligence, and as Chris Greer said Wednesday morning, if you have a player of that caliber who becomes available, you owe it to yourself to investigate it. Well, guess what? They're going to investigate it again after the offseason unless Tua completely blows them away in the final 9 games of the regular season, which I tend to doubt will happen. My guess is that Tua is going to be, again, at his best, very efficient, and he's going to put up really good numbers against bad teams, and it's going to be so-so against good teams. So you're going to see him Sunday when they play Houston. My guess is he could have a 280-yard, 3-touchdown game, and the Dolphins logically win because Houston is so god-awful. But then 4 days later, it's Baltimore coming to Hard Rock Stadium, and that becomes the litmus test. And if Tua can put up those kinds of numbers, then we're talking.
So you use Buffalo as a litmus test?
The Buffaloes, the Baltimores, yes, absolutely. It's one thing to put it.
You used it as a litmus test. Okay.
Absolutely, no question. Tua has to have.
So week one against the Bills, Big Ben, 188 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions.
Big Ben is shot. Big Ben is shot.
Okay, Henneke, week 3, 212, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Mills, 87 yards, 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Mahomes, 272, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Tannehill, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Nobody passes on the Bills, my brother. Nobody. Not even with good teams you pass on the Bills. So how do you expect Tua? See, that I find that to be that narrative that you just used, and I pulled it out on Omar too. I find it to be incredibly unfair because people then don't go back and look, well, wait a minute, dude, everybody struggles against the Bills. It's not a Tua thing. If Pat Mahomes can't play good against the Bills, who the hell else is going to play well against the Bills? And the great Tannehill didn't play better than Tua against the Bills.
Okay.
They all sucked. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you do against the Bills. You suck because they're better than everybody.
Except the quarterbacks you mentioned, other than Mahomes, who is not having a good year, is not having a Mahomes year, do you want Tua to reach the level of any of those quarterbacks? Would you be happy with that, or you want something better? I want something better.
But my point is, I want something better, but you're not going to get better if you don't have a better line, if you don't have a better running game, if you don't have reliable receivers, my friend. Tua cannot do it by himself. We're asking him against the Bills to make chicken salad out of chicken you know what. But against sorry teams, he can do a little better because he plays with a sorry team. So that's why he's at an even level playing field. If he was playing with a good team, he could play good against good teams. But since he's playing with sorry-ass team and a sorry-ass coaching staff, by the way, the worst coaching staff I've ever seen in the Miami Dolphins history, it makes it that much harder to be competitive. That's my point, my brother.
Okay.
I think we are unfair to Tua in that sense. Oh, well, some of you, not me. Some of you.
That's fine. And except Ryan Tannehill goes to Tennessee, and he's been much, much better because he has a very good offensive line and because he has Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill is still, at best, a solid quarterback.
He's a good game manager. He's a good game manager.
Correct.
What he's turned into.
If you're going to tell me that Tua needs everything around him to be very, very good, you're telling me he's just at best a solid quarterback. I want more than that.
I don't know what he is, my brother, until I actually see him with real coaching that can actually prepare him with a real offensive line. I mean, Drew Brees needed help too, my man. You have to get Michael Thomas for him. You have to get, good running backs, whether it was Smith or now the Tennessee kid. All that kind of stuff is super important, man. They needed a tight end. They would always get him a good tight end. And that's Drew Brees, and he's going to the Hall of Fame. Drew Brees looked like crap the first couple of years in San Diego, and then he kind of figured it out, and then he got Sean Payton, and that took him to an absolute another level. Everybody needs a little help, my brother. You just can't do it by yourself.
I don't disagree with that, but if you need everything around you to be really good, you're just a solid quarterback. And again, I am not saying definitively that there's no chance Tua becomes above average, good, very good. I'm just saying based on what I've seen, even going back to college, the physical traits to me are not there. Okay. That he can't be more than just an efficient quarterback if everything around him, is working.
So great. he can't be Drew Brees, you're saying?
10% shot.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. So you think Drew Brees is that much better than him? Okay. All right. That's where the disconnect is. Okay. See, I don't think there's any difference between him and Drew Brees. There's zero difference, I think. It's the same exact player, except one's a lefty and one's a righty. That's the only difference that I see. Same arm. Actually, Tua's a little bit better of an athlete. Actually, Tua's a better athlete than Brees is.
Not a comparison. Not a comparison in arm. Zero comparison in arm. Sorry.
Oh, I think it's the same arm. Yeah. It's the same arm. Yeah,
we'll agree to disagree, my friend.
When you have a real pocket that you can like step up and really nice and unload, your arm will look better. But if you're constantly like behind a line that's on top of you, and you got to throw on top, and you're a short guy, it ain't gonna look too pretty, man.
I hate to break it to Big O. He made a couple of passes downfield in the fourth quarter against Buffalo, where the pocket was clean, and that ball took a long time to get there, and it hung up. And to me, again, we can agree to disagree. Drew Brees, to me, had a clear level ahead above Tua in terms of arm strength.
Okay. All right. That's where you and I disagree on that one. What did you think about Flo's comment that when Omar asked him if he felt he had enough talent to overcome mistakes and what he had to say? Because I know to a certain extent he has to say certain things, but what did you think?
Yeah, I think he said exactly what he needed to say, because if he said, no, I think we're lacking in a couple of areas, then basically he's indicting himself and Chris Greer in terms of how they built the roster. So he's not going to do that. And again, how often has he gone back to it? There's a small margin between win or loss, and we just keep making little mistakes here and there and all that. Well, yeah, you keep making a little mistake because you're not a very good team. And then Chris Greer also today was asked about his recent drafts and basically talking about how he's happy with all the guys and their production and the way they're developing. And I'm thinking, wow, really?
Yeah, because he has to say he's happy with the talent, and he can't say I'm not happy with the development, because then that's taking a shot at Flo and his staff, which are, a bunch of minor leaguers that don't belong here. But, that's just and by the way, this is another point that I made today. The Dolphin Nation has to wait for a coaching staff to develop so then they can develop players, because that's basically what you're doing. It's a bunch of guys that have never really had success at this level coaching their positions or their units, and yet they're so inexperienced. It's impossible to think that they can actually prepare the players to go up against the guy on the other side that is well prepared and is already a seasoned coach. It's kind of ass backwards, in other words. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I feel.
But even forget about having success. Practically the entire staff is guys who are currently position coaches in the NFL for the first time. I mean, outside of Josh Porter, George Godsey, and Eric Studesville, I think every other position coach, this is their first NFL job.
Yes,
I mean,
I know.
That's not an ideal scenario. And I'm not saying that's the reason that we're seeing problems with player development.
Oh no,
But
that's the reason.
At some point, you have to kind of like do the correlation there.
That's the reason. In my eyes, the main reason why this team is terrible is because they have no coaching. I can't believe everybody's bad on this team. I'm just not doing that. I'm just not doing that.
No,
Every draft pick, every veteran has failed. No, dude, no. All of a sudden, the kicker can't kick field goals and he's getting them blocked. Just all of a sudden like that. No, dude. No, I'm just no. I have Baker. I mean, dude, he was terrific last year. What happened to him? What are you doing?
Correct.
Where is he? I gotta blame Boyer and his staff for all of that kind of stuff. Whatever happens on offense, I gotta blame the 87 offensive coordinators, and I gotta blame the offensive line coach, for all of this stuff. To me, and in the end, I blame Flo because. And that's probably the ultimate indictment on him. He can't build a staff, Alan. That's a huge problem, dude.
That's a big part of being a head coach.
Yesterday. Dude, you're a historian like I am. I talked about this yesterday. Shula was great, but Shula also had some freaking awesome assistant coaches, man.
Yep.
When you have Orangeburger and you have Mike Westhoff, and you have guys that are just absolute monsters, Mel Phillips, and just great coaches that he had around him for so many years. It wasn't like Shula did it all by himself. You know what I mean? And that to me is the biggest problem on this team right now.
No, and then two guys you didn't mention that were on Shula's staff who later became head coaches tells you what kind of caliber they were in terms of assistant coaches. Bill Arnsparger, Monty Clark.
That's right.
I mean,
Monty Clark was
and
awesome.
Another thing too is Shula went through like 2 offensive line coaches for like 25 years with Monty Clark and Jan Sandusky, and now it's practically a new offensive line coach every year. At some point, it has an effect, and part of being a successful NFL head coach is the ability to put a coaching staff together, and that's been a shortcoming. Another one is player-coach relationships. That's another area where all indications are that's not particularly Flores' forte. So, yeah, I mean, there are reasons things have gone south. And
So
not entirely on the talent level.
So the receiver, Vanoy, Minka, all this stuff, I remember receiver for those of you out there, Kenny Stills. So were these signs that we weren't paying attention to, and we gave the benefit of the doubt to Flo? Hey, coach has got to do what he's got to do, and either on board or off. Did we fail in paying attention to those signs? In other words.
Oh, well, to me, the Minka Fitzpatrick situation immediately was like red flag, red alert, danger. I mean, you do not dump that kind of talent just because you're going to be a jack of all trades in the secondary, and the guy, no, I want to play deep safety, and seems to me he's playing deep safety pretty well for the Steelers, and maybe there was something there. Obviously, you can't let every player tell you, and this is what I want to play, and this is going to be it. I understand that. But you got to make it work. And also, if you go back, the previous head coach of the Dolphins, Adam Gase, had the same issue. He had clashes where Jay Ajayi wound up getting him out of town. Jarvis Landry was traded, yes, partly because of his contract, but there were also issues with how he was getting along with Gase. The ability to manage player, that's another big part of being a successful NFL head coach. And, yeah, the Minka Fitzpatrick one to me was like, a major. I loved everything they did in 2019 in the way they were setting themselves up, for their rebuild. But the Minka Fitzpatrick move was just a major red flag for me.
And by the way, we do have to give Gase a little credit for one thing. He is a trendsetter, okay? Because he knew a pandemic was coming, and he was already teaching people about social distancing. Because nobody would stand around the guy, or when he was sitting on the bench, it was all by himself. So I give Gase a lot of credit. He was trying to teach us what we were going to have to do in the future with social distancing. So, let's give him a little love in that.
Yeah,
case.
but if we're gonna dump on Gase, I did the research after 40 games, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, he's better.
Was 20-20. Joe Philbin was 20-20, and Brian Flores is 16-24.
I keep telling people that's why, because people have mentioned the other coaches. Like, no way. Oh, and I'm like, hey, man, this staff is the worst staff. It's worse than Cam's. It's worse than it's worse than Cam's, actually. And it's worse than Philbin and all these guys. And and Philbin also had a trouble actually putting together a staff, although one of his assistant coaches is kicking ass as a head coach.
Except
Zach Taylor his guy?
Except when they lose
Zach Taylor his guy?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, Zach Taylor is, was he the son-in-law of Mike Sherman?
Right,
who
right.
brought over from Green Bay.
Right. Dude's 5-1, 6-1, or 5-2, or 6-2, whatever the hell he is.
5-3 after losing to the Jets.
5-3. That's right. He's kicking ass, dude. 5-3 in Cincinnati. They should put a damn statue outside the damn stadium.
And they're set at quarterback for 10 years.
Yes, they are. You are correct. And the receiver's pretty damn good too.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Flo, did you find it a little odd that his praise for Tua today was probably he laid it on a little thicker than he normally does? Did you pick up on that, or you don't think it was anything normal than what he's done before?
It was along the same lines. I mean, it may be a case of like, now that's my guy for the next 9 weeks for sure. So now I really got it. And maybe there are also some mending that needs to be done because of all the noise that the Dolphins let out in their pursuit of Deshaun Watson. Not that I necessarily believe that, all the talk is going to affect Tua's performance on Sunday, but it's still kind of BS that a player has to hear that when he's the supposed franchise quarterback. So from that standpoint, absolutely. And maybe it was, Flo's way of making it. Now that we're definitely not getting Deshaun Watson, yeah, let me throw some flowers at the guy's way.
Are you all on my side on this? It's over with him, right? He's done. Like, he will not be a Dolphin next year, right?
With
I
Tua?
mean, that to me, yeah, Tua. I think Tua's done. I think
I
think Steinberg will demand the trade as soon as possible, but I think he's done as long as you keep these guys. Now, if you change regimes, maybe the new regime may want to reach out and say, hey, forget about what happened. You're our guy. We're going to build around you. We believe in you. Maybe that could happen. But if Flores and Greer come back, is Tua still on this roster in 2022 in your eyes?
Not unless he completely balls out, in which case then the Dolphins go to him, regardless of new regime or not, go to him after the season and say, Tua, I hope you understand, you're our guy. And then Dolphins make a lot more definitive, bold statement in January, let's say January 10th, because January 9th is the end of the season, January 10th, saying Tua's our guy moving forward. That's our man. That's our franchise quarterback. But again, the likelihood of that happening, Tua completely balling out to the point where they forget about Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, whoever it might be, and B, Flores and or Greer coming out with that kind of massive, bold statement. Yeah, I could see where a inevitable divorce is happening.
Any truth that you're building a massage parlor next to the stadium for next year?
That's funny. That's funny. I don't have the kind of funds to build anything.
All right. So give me a prediction. We're going to win this week, right? I mean, bro, give me a victory this week, right? I mean, please. You're picking the Dolphins, right?
If they don't, they might as well clean house right now. I mean, because Houston is, my Lord, are they bad. Here's the thing, though. And I hate to do this, but here's the thing.
Oh, God.
There was some rumblings that Tyrod Taylor might play, and Tyrod Taylor's 5-2 in his career against the Dolphins.
Yeah, he does play well. Yeah, when he was at the Bills.
Listen to this.
Yes.
10 touchdowns, no picks. Passer rating 113.8.
Yeah.
Does he come back and again bite the Dolphins in the ass? But
by the way, you ever met him? You ever met him?
I have not.
Terrific young man. Like, after you hang out with him a little bit, you're like, damn, dude, I wish this guy had success in the league. He's that kind of kid, He's a really, really likable dude. He's one of those guys that when you get to know him a little bit, you'll go, dude, he deserves better stuff happening to him than all the crap that's happened in his career. You know what I mean? And listen, obviously he's had a little issue with accuracy That's been a problem for him. But I give him credit. He doesn't turn over the ball, and he has a beautiful deep ball. That he can throw a decent deep ball down there. So, but yeah, it's accuracy's been his problem, and also doctors puncturing lungs. That kind of
that could be a problem too.
That could be an issue in you playing. That's got to be a bitch. You get a chance of a lifetime to finally get. Hey, let me see if I can prove myself, and boom, punctured lung.
No, but we talk about like the Dolphins being dysfunctional. Here's Houston. Remind you, they're in rebuilding mode. They trade like a young pass rusher who, by all accounts, is a promising guy for a 6th-round pick. Explain the logic to me there, because I don't get it.
I saw that. I can't pronounce the kid's name. It's like
Charles or something like that.
Yeah, some name, right? And I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Unless he's a scheme type player that they're not running that scheme for next year, and they plan on keeping the same coaches. That's the only thing I can think of, but I'm not exactly sure what they're doing, so I'm not in tune with that. But yeah, I saw that. All right, so hopefully we'll win. We'll talk on the post-game show, my friend. We'll be out in Bird Road, so appreciate you as always. What are you working on SI so folks can check you out?
Well, I'm going to be diving into, I already posted like the full transcript of Chris Greer's comments this morning, and I'm going to dive into it a little bit more, and then maybe do a little my own analysis of revisiting the 2021 draft, and maybe I have a different take than Chris Greer, who refused to revisit it and said, we did what we did, and we're happy with Jalen Waddle and all that. There are so many different ways they could have gone in that draft, and that wasn't one of them.
I would like for you to do an article where you break down that entire coaching staff and their lack of experience.
Okay, duly noted.
Could
I'll
this
see what I
be
can do for you?
Dolphins? How many teams in the NFL have this many coaches that lack that kind of experience? I'd be very intrigued for you to do all that homework on the 31 other teams.
You gave me a homework assignment, man. I thought those days were gone.
Put your ass to work. Put your ass to work, baby. All right, Alan, I love you, brother. Appreciate you big time. You be good.
Right back at you. Talk to Sunday.
You got it. I'll see you Sunday. Be good. There you go. Alain Poupart, our SportsGrill Miami Dolphins Insider Report.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.